What is happening, everybody? Trey here, joined as always by my dad, Sharon. And today, reactions to the classics. We got another album review of Ms. Joni Mitchell.
Yep.
This time, her very acclaimed record, Hejira. And this comes courtesy of suggestion from our patron and longtime supporter, Osmond. Osmond, shout out to you.
Thank you, brother.
Man. Appreciate it. Looking forward to diving into this record, the background of it, and of course the track-by-track review. But before we get into that, if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you like what you see. We upload every single day in a wide variety of genres, eras. There's going to be something for everybody. And if you maybe want us to review a record for you, you can check out our Patreon link down below. Shout out to the patrons who help keep us running. And you can follow us on social media as well. But all that to say, Dad, we got a decent amount of background on this record, actually.
We got quite a bit, yeah. It's the 8th studio album released in November of 1976. Didn't do as well commercially as some of her previous albums. Only went to 22 in Canada, 13 in the US, 11 in the UK. Critically speaking, though, as the years have went on, it's been better and better received, all the way up to the point that it's 133 on the brand new Rolling Stones Top 500 albums of all time. The songs were largely written by Joni on a trip by car from Maine back to LA, with prominent imagery including highways, small towns, and snow, characterized by lyrically dense, sprawling songs, as well as the overdubbed, fretless bass playing of Jaco Pastorius, whom Mitchell had just met. Hejira continued her journey beyond her pop records toward the freer jazz-inspired music she would implement on those later recordings. She also wrote some of this during and after a stint she spent with Dylan on the Rolling Thunder Review in 1975, which we've done a ton of Dylan albums on the channel, obviously, and heard of the Rolling Thunder Review. I had no idea Joni was a part of this.
No, me neither. And I mean, I know they released that Netflix special of it. I still gotta watch it. At the time, you know, I hadn't listened to Bob's music kind of surrounding that period. So now that we're familiar with that,
now one of the problems, though, Trey, with being a member of that Rolling Thunder Review is Joni got a real bad cocaine habit.
Hey, it was the 70s, man.
It was the 70s. And in February of 76, she was scheduled to play about 6 weeks of concert dates across the U.S. promoting the album The Hissing of Summer Lawns. However, her relationship between her and her boyfriend John Guerin, who was acting as a drummer on that string of dates, soured, possibly due to Mitchell's fling with playwright and actor Sam Shepard during the Rolling Thunder Review. Tensions became so fraught, the tour was abandoned halfway through. And one of those things on the trip from LA to Maine, she was with two guys, one of them a former lover, Australian. So that inspired 6 of these 9 songs on the album, according to Joni.
Hey, that heartbreak kind of leads to good art. And also, during the recording of Court and Spark and Summer of Hissing Lawns, she was beginning to get a little dissatisfied with the rock session musicians, feeling that some of the subtleties that she wanted in her music were getting buried. I mean, we reviewed Court and Spark on the channel, still really enjoyed it.
Me too.
Great record, but in the rock musicians themselves said, hey, maybe you want to look towards more jazz type of
more
you know, session musicians,
because they're so much more technically precise because of that genre of music.
Also, that relationship with John Guerin also helped lead her into that jazzy.
It did.
And during this time, she met Jaco, and you know, one of the legendary bassists of you know, of all time, really, and overdubbed 4 of you know, his bass parts onto tracks in here. And whenever those happen, they definitely stand out, which is a testament to how good Jaco was.
On that note, Trey, Mitchell's described the album as really inspired. This is this restless feeling throughout it, the sweet loneliness of solitary travel. And, quote, I suppose a lot of people could have written a lot of my other songs, but I feel the songs on Hejira could only have come from me. The title is strange. It's a transliteration of the Arabic word more commonly rendered as Hejira or Hejira, which means rupture. And she later said that she found the word by looking through a dictionary and looking for a word that kind of meant running away with honor. And she liked the hanging J there, like on Aja. So that's why she chose it.
It definitely stands out as a unique.
Yeah, because for a while when I looked, I'm like, what is that? What is that saying? And then the cover art's famous. It's just her in Wisconsin, this snowy little situation after an ice storm. So well acclaimed that in 1991, Rolling Stone named it the number 11 on their best covers of all time, which I don't see that at all. I mean, it's a fine cover, but you know, I mean, Rolling Stone in their lists sometimes are a little different. But as we get into the track by track, of course, she's a master songwriter. All songs are written by Joni. We're going to start out with Coyote.
Yeah, and this was actually one of my favorites on the
Mine
record.
too. Lead single too.
Yeah, and you're immediately met with Jaco's awesome fretless bass work, and that stands out as I mentioned before, whenever he's on the tracks on this record. And here, I thought some of the strongest lyricism on the record.
I agree.
Because she's kind of describing this man, comparing it with the coyote in the way that he's very cunning, very full of lust, and going out. He has a woman at home and also a woman down the hall.
Yep.
But his eyes are on Joni, we can presume, as well. And she gets caught up in with that a little bit. And there's also a little motif that occurs throughout with the lines. You just picked up a hitcher, a prisoner of the white lines on the freeway, which I think is a nod to her cocaine use at this time. Who knows? I could be reading too much into it. And then at the end, she knows the coyote is either going to have to stand or get on out of there. So we don't know if Joni faces the coyote at the end, but I thought this was a great opener.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought there's even a little spoken word in there, which kind of goes in that. I don't know what I thought of the instrumentation. It was a little different, but yeah, I liked it fine. And it's a little dichotomy between the LA life and powders and pills, and then the coyote and kind of the ranching life, and two different things there. That brings us to Amelia. It was inspired by a breakup with then partner John Guerin and described by her as almost an exact account of her experience in the desert. It interweaves a story of a desert journey, the Hejira within the Hejira, with the famous aviator Amelia Earhart, who mysteriously vanished during a flight over the Pacific Ocean. Each verse ends with the refrain, "Amelia, it was just a false alarm." Repeatedly shifts between two keys, giving it a constant unsettled feeling. She just said, I was thinking of Amelia Earhart when I wrote this, and things that a woman must do, and kind of felt some kinship with her there.
Well, I think this track demonstrates how well read and versed Joni is, not only with Amelia, but you also had a shout out to Icarus in there, who is a character that pops up, it seems, a lot in music.
I know it does, man. I've noticed that.
But I just thought this track was wonderful as well. One of my favorites.
Nice and chilled.
Yeah, and shout out Larry Carlton on the lead guitar here.
I was going to say the backing guitars are fantastic on this one.
A legendary session musician, and you even have a vibraphone at the end. It just had an atmosphere that was a bit mysterious and otherworldly at points. Yeah. So I enjoyed it for that, and what she was saying too in the lyrical content. I especially like the line, "Maybe I've never really loved. I guess that's the truth." Joni's quite honest on this record.
She is, man.
From start to finish, and this song's no different. So the way it was all able to weave together just was a very excellent track. Great 1-2 punch.
Agreed. And now we're going to come to an interesting track. Furry sings the blues. We got the man himself, Uncle Neil. Neil Young's playing the harmonica on here. It's an account of Joni meeting the blues guitarist and singer Furry Lewis in Beale Street, Memphis, during a period when the surrounding area was being demolished. Lewis was displeased when Mitchell used his name. She describes in detail how the area is falling apart and not the blues mecca it once was. So, yeah, Furry was not happy. He was 80-something years old at this point. He did not like the fact that she name-dropped him. I think that'd go either way. Some people would love it. But, it wasn't a disparaging thing necessarily that she said about him, but it wasn't 100% flattery either. But I mean, it's part of getting old, man.
No, exactly. And I mean, Joni even kind of mentions this in the song where she notes that I can't blame him as his town's getting destroyed.
Sure.
Or coming up in this shiny limo.
Sure.
So she has that self-awareness there, which, I appreciated. And it was interesting because besides that kind of bluesy-esque harmonica from Neil, this didn't have a blues vibe. I feel this track kind of inspired a lot of 90s girl alternative songs, actually, just to kind of fit in that for me. But
that's a good point.
Not a favorite for me on here, but still still a solid track.
Yeah, I kind of same for me. And that brings us to A Strange Boy, which she wrote literally about the guy she was having a little fling with, going from LA to Maine. He was a flight attendant in his 30s, still lived at home. She mentions the still living at home in this song.
Yeah, some of these lines are brutal.
They are very brutal. Yeah, I mean, Joni's quite honest. So this song was okay for me.
Yeah, we got the line, "What a strange, strange boy. He still lives with his family. Even the war in the Navy couldn't bring him to maturity." Again, had another slick guitar lead that made this feel modern. I'm kind of with you, Dad. Not a favorite for me, but still solid.
Then we're going to finish off the A-side with the title track, Hejira, which she wrote about her breakup with Guerin, and she said it was the toughest song to write on the album. Features the bass work of Jaco. She even references and name drops Benny Goodman in this, who played a clarinet, and when she name drops him, a clarinet plays. I thought that was cool. The song's long, but it's a bit haunting. It's one of my favorites. I thought it was really...
Yeah, I'm with you, Dad. This was also one of my favorites. I thought this first side was incredibly strong. The interplay between Joni's acoustic and Jaco's bass work, again, was blended quite well together. And I especially like the line, "I know no one's going to show me everything. We all come and go in union, each so deep and superficial between the forceps and stone." And I think that just kind of cuts to the heart that we're here for a short amount of time and seeking love kind of in that process there. So bravo to Joni for this one.
Yeah, I agree. Now we're going to move to the B-side with Song for Sharon. It's 8 minutes, 40 seconds long, longest track on the album. 10 verses. Lyrics deal with conflict faced by a woman who's deciding between freedom and marriage. References the places Mitchell went during her trip to New York City, including scenes at Mandolin Brothers Guitar Store in Staten Island and a visit to a fortune teller on Bleecker Street. It was allegedly written while Mitchell was high on cocaine at the end of her visit to the city. And the namesake of the song is Joni's childhood friend Sharon Bell. Sharon studied voice and wanted to be a singer, but she ended up marrying a farmer, whereas Joni originally just wanted to marry a farmer.
Yeah.
She ended up being a singer, so quite an interesting difference there.
No, and here you also have possibly a little veiled reference to Jackson
Yeah,
Browne's,
I had no idea about any of this stuff.
Yeah, like Phyllis Major, who died by suicide.
Yeah,
and
Jackson's first wife.
And, you know, Joni and Jackson actually had a little fling all the way back in 72.
Joni pretty much had a fling with almost every major male singer. That's an exaggeration.
No, but
she was with some heavy hitters.
And she noted that he at one time got physical with her.
Yeah.
And Phyllis Major also noted that Jackson did that as well. And so Joni wonders if maybe she has a line saying, you know, drowned herself kind of because to get away from Jackson essentially. But who knows on all that? But
yeah, who knows, man.
It is interesting to note that though, that you know, Joni was so bold to go out there and do that. And for the song itself, I thought it was kind of neat as it kind of let the listener be a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Kind of with the letter, you know, going to Sharon here and just getting all of Joni's, you know, thoughts, fears, desires for a new lover. You had musically the little ooze, the female ooze backing in the background, which I thought gave it a little musical.
Yeah, nice female backing. I'd put that down for sure. I agree, man. It's one of my favorites. Next up's Black Crow. The lyrics supposedly deal with the difficulties she had traveling from her home in her second home in British Columbia. I don't know that I got that. I read in 3 different places that's supposedly what it's about. It has a lot harder guitar riffs. I appreciate what they were trying to do with that part. It just didn't quite work for me. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, this is my least favorite on the record, actually.
We're on the same page.
You know, the story didn't grip me as much as the other ones on here. I mean, I know that is a high bar.
Yeah,
and, yeah. Instrumentally, it was competent, but nothing really just like made me want to dive into the track more. But that takes us. We only got 2 tracks left.
Takes us to Blue Motel Room. Was written at the DeSoto Beach Motel in Savannah, Georgia. It was inspired by the first breakup of the on-again, off-again relationship between Mitchell and Guerin. Lyrics express Mitchell's hopes of rekindling the relationship. She tells her love interest to rebuff any other suitors. Quote, "Tell those girls you've got the German measles, honey. Tell them you got germs." Way more chilled. Not really a fave of mine, but it's one of those things. They broke up a ton, and supposedly after the first time they broke up, then she's like, "I hope he'll take me back." And so she's kind of telling him, "Do that. I'm away, but I'm flying home." So what do you think of this?
Yeah, this had kind of like that cool lounge jazz bar type of feel to it. I thought this was one of Joni's best vocal performances. I thought she killed it in that, and you had the motif of blue showing up to kind of go with that melancholy. Of course, you know, that's a theme, obviously, that she's familiar with. Of
course.
And so, yeah, man, I kind of dug it in what the little wordplay in here.
I did like one of the lines. "You and me, we're like America and Russia. We're always keeping score. We're always balancing the power, and that can get to be a cold, cold war. We're going to have to hold ourselves a peace talk in some neutral cafe." So a guy like me who grew up, you know, I wasn't very old when this was released, but in the late 70s and 80s and the Cold War, I thought that was a really good way of putting that, of telling you what kind of tension there was between them. But that's going to take us to Refuge of the Roads, the final track. Written about a 3-day visit that Mitchell had made to the controversial Buddhist meditation master Chayagum Trungpa. I probably butchered that. I know I did. In Colorado on the way back to LA. According to Joni, it was during this visit in early 1976 that he cured her of her own cocaine addiction. She would later say this track was one of her own favorites. It also alludes to astronaut Bill Anders' Earthrise. For me, it was not bad. I liked it a lot more than I liked the previous previous two songs.
Yeah, Jaco again shines here on that bass work, and I think this kind of fit as a closer because a lot of the themes kind of got wrapped up in here where Joni's hitting the road to forget about her troubles. She's hitting the pavement to go and forget lovers, to find new ones, to kind of work her way through the melancholy that she's going through. And I think that was all summed up well in here, and just kind of that lifestyle that most of us can't relate to because we're not on the road going from town to town night after night like musicians do, especially back then, playing all those shows. So I thought it was a fitting way to end the record off. And that'll take us to our favorite tracks. For me, I got it's going to be all my three are all on that first side. I got the title track, I got Coyote, and I got Amelia.
I got Hejira and Song for Sharon. That's going to take us to our overall score. We've reviewed Blue and Court and Spark. I don't like this as well as Blue, but Blue is a high bar. But for me, very consistent, great songwriting. The more I listened to it, the more I liked it. I'm going to go with the 7.75. What do you got, Trey?
Yeah, for me, I thought it was really, really solid. I know some Joni fans who have told me that they really, really love this record as one of their favorites, and then others say that they're not as gripped by the jazzy instrumentation, which I can see that.
I can see that too.
If you're not vibing with it, it is kind of has similar musical themes throughout the 9 tracks, but I enjoyed it. I thought there was some great stories in here, as you would expect from Joni. Some very solid vocal performances, and so I'm going to be at a very solid 8.0 for me out of 10. Definitely one I would suggest if you're a fan of Joni and you haven't heard this for some reason yet, to definitely give it a spin and check it out. It is a little on the longer side. It is. To me, it didn't really seem like that. It was split up because the songwriting and storytelling was so good. But anyways, man, let us know what you think of Hejira down in the comments section below, your favorite tracks. As always, Dad, appreciate the research.
And thank you, Osmond. I know it's one of your favorite albums of all time, man. So thank you for bringing that to us.
Glad we were able to do that for you, Osmond. You haven't steered us wrong on a record yet.
No, you have not.
But until next time, y'all, thanks for watching. Happy listening, and we will see ya.